I'm Joe. I graduated last year from the University of Exeter with a BSc in Zoology, and I've spent the last year being the Exeter President for the Falmouth and Exeter Students' Union. Society's appreciation for ocean conservation has significantly increased, and the fishing industry has been labelled as one of the largest marine litter culprits. Plastic fishing lines take 100 to 1,000 years to degrade, and ghost nets make up 20% of marine litter. When first discussing this issue, we think of seals, seabirds and whales entangled in nets. However, there's more of a challenge. Let's discuss this further with the Cornish Plastic Pollution Coalition.
So my name's Claire. We're a group of over 50 marine conservation and beach cleaning organisations around Cornwall. And we've been working for years and years in our different areas, cleaning up our beaches and picking up all sorts of different types of plastic that washes up.
Recently you've been tackling the issue of fishermen's kisses. What are they and why are they a problem?
So fishermen's kisses is something that very few people have ever heard of. This is a fisherman's kiss. Fisherman's kisses are small pieces of fishing net which are generally sort of lost accidentally while nets are being mended. It's a very dangerous and difficult job being a fisherman, and nets often get snagged on something underwater. They'll rip a hole in them, and to get fishing again quickly you have to fix that net. That means cutting out pieces and fixing quickly, getting back to work. Often your decks can be awash with water, and so these little bits will very often get washed away into the sea. Might seem like a very small and insignificant thing, but in fact on our beaches around Cornwall this is by far one of the commonest things that we pick up. All the public campaigns about plastic reduction do seem to have had an effect on consumer use of plastic. We're actually seeing a lot less in terms of plastic bottles, takeaway rubbish, a lot of stuff like that. But while a lot of that other stuff has gone down, fishing waste doesn't seem to be declining as quickly. I don't think there's very much discussion about this at all. We all know the problem of whole nets when they become ghost gear, when they're lost or discarded at sea. This kind of stuff is much smaller, so obviously nothing's going to get entangled in this, but they are small enough to be ingested. So what we've actually found is that a lot of seabirds do eat this. So they are undoubtedly having a huge impact on marine life, and there's too much of it out there.
So what are you doing to drive action against this problem?
Over the past winter, we worked for a couple of months collecting fishermen's kisses from our local beaches, and in fact from a beach just beyond where we're talking now, we collected over 10,000 just in a few visits to the beach. We made this into a big display, and we've been talking to fishermen and fishermen's associations about the best ways that this could possibly be tackled. We ran a YouTube campaign called Fishermen's Kisses, where we thought the best way of trying to address this problem, instead of wagging fingers and saying, you shouldn't be doing this, is actually to speak to fishermen and ask them what they think the best way would be of stopping this happening so often. They know their boats best, they know the kind of conditions they work in, and they know what would and wouldn't work. So we were just looking for ideas and feedback, and we did get some great ideas actually. One fisherman was using a kind of drawstring tarp on his boat where he could fix his net on top of that, and that would gather up all the net and collect it, and then he can pour it away into a bag for disposal. In the past there's been a bit of a gulf, shall we say, between the environmentalist movement and fishermen, and what we're really trying to do here is open up a conversation, because neither is the enemy, and I think in the end all that everybody wants is to make sure that we have healthy seas. And what we're going to be looking at is, in a really positive way, looking at some of the research that's going on and some of the businesses that have been set up to try to minimise this and deal with fishing waste. With the support of the fishing industry, we'll be able to work together and come to some great solutions.
I'm Claire, I work for Odyssey Innovation.
We can't completely stop the fishing industry, so do you think innovation is key?
Fishing's not going to stop. It's important to keep innovating to put the waste, what would have been waste, now into a resource to good use. The fishing industry is incredibly important to Odyssey. We started up a net regeneration scheme, which is basically providing free net recycling from different harbours. We've got 17 harbours on board around the southwest, and so rather than the fishermen having to pay to give them to landfill, we'll collect the nets for free, which he then repurposes into products such as kayaks. Odyssey's mission is to add value to plastic waste We're also working with local communities with our Paddle for Plastic campaign. We go out on the kayaks and collect nets and plastic waste from coves that are otherwise inaccessible, and then these can be then put back into the kayaks.
So are you finding that more people want these products with a purpose?
Yeah, so we've been innovating for 5 years and there's definitely a growing demand. More people are aware of environmental issues, and I think the one important thing is transparency, so that people who are trying to support businesses doing this sort of thing know exactly the process from start to finish. That way there'll be a trust and people will be willing to pay for a product which has helped to reduce marine waste.
We have to work with local fishermen to enforce long-term change. Collaboration is more important than ever to stop this small but highly polluting problem. Let's think and act innovatively now to stop fishermen's kisses.